Welcome to the One Gang Worldwide podcast, your ultimate ride into the world of motorcycles. Visit cyclesworldwide.com where we offer a completely free marketplace for everything motorcycles. Join our One Gang community where you can connect, share info, and swap stories with riders from all over the world. Join for free at cyclesworldwide.com and be a part of the One Gang community right now. On today's episode of the One Gang Worldwide podcast, we're honored to have Jason Zaideman with us. Jason's the founder of Operation Charlie Bravo, a remarkable organization that provides veterans with therapeutic motorcycle building experiences aimed at helping them cope with post-service life. In today's episode, Jason will share the story behind Operation Charlie Bravo, discuss the therapeutic benefits of working with motorcycles and other activities, and highlight the profound impact his organization has had on the veteran community. So get ready to jump into a world of motorcycle therapy and discover how Jason Zaideman and Operation Charlie Bravo are making a difference, one bike at a time, right here on the One Gang podcast.
When you have a veteran's daughter walk up to you and hug you we had an anniversary party one year, and this has happened in different instances. It's just the one that really sticks out to me. When you have a veteran's daughter walk up to you and hug you and whisper in your ear and say, "Thank you, I got my daddy back."
One Gang Worldwide podcast, brought to you by Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping. Since 1978, Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping has been the trusted name in transporting motorcycles safely across the country. With custom-designed pallets and air ride trailers, your bike is secure and protected every step of the way. By choosing Keyboard Motorcycle Shipping, you're supporting a dedicated small business that prioritizes quality and customer satisfaction. Ship with a peace of mind, knowing your motorcycle is in expert hands. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hey, welcome guys to the One Gang Worldwide podcast. We got a great one today. We got Jason Zaideman from Operation Charlie Bravo. He's the CEO and founder of this amazing organization. I can't wait to get into it. Thank you so much for joining us, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. All right, Jason. So tell us how we started out. Tell us about where you grew up, how you grew up, the early days. What was it like for you in your childhood?
Well, I could probably write a book on this one. It's kind of crazy, but I was born in Sacramento, California. I believe my dad and my mom were kind of gypsies. My dad was a stuntman for Universal Studios. So I think they were in the middle of doing some gun show and like a Western quick draw show in Folsom. Because my dad worked for Universal Studios in LA, and my grandparents lived down in LA because back in the 1950s, my whole entire family moved to the LA area. They all wanted to be Californians, I guess. That was the big rush down to, the 50s and the 60s and the car hops and yep. So my dad joined the Marine Corps out there in California. He kind of beat my uncle to the punch kind of thing, and he ends up going to Vietnam. So when, after he came back, I think he did 2 tours. When he came back, my dad, so he had stuff going on. So I could tell just imagining my dad went through this, destructive life because he joined a biker gang and,
did he?
He's doing stunt work. Oh yeah. He was in the Heathens and the Straight Satans.
Oh, okay.
I think he was supporting HA. So he did a whole lot of biker stuff, and he was building bikes, and he was an artist down at, Santa Monica Pier. My dad was an amazing artist. He did oil paintings and he was an all around artist. So I could tell that, looking back at my dad's, younger life before I was born, I could tell that he was kind of doing the same things that I did. And I like father, like son, I kind of did the same thing later on, but I didn't realize I did it. Anyways, he stayed busy. He's doing stunt work. He was doing construction stuff, just staying busy doing stuff. And then I guess he must have met my mom up in, the Sacramento area, Folsom, doing these shows. I'm guessing that's how they met, because my dad's no longer here, so I can't ask these questions. He passed away. He kind of let himself go kind of thing. So he gave up. He got to the point where his body couldn't do much more. He couldn't even keep himself that busy, and I think he just gave up, and he had a couple heart attacks, and finally the second one killed him. But anyways, so, this just gypsy lifestyle that my dad was kind of in, being a biker back in the late 70s, and, doing stunt work and kind of bouncing around everywhere. I was born in Sacramento, and then I lived in Washington State for a little bit, and then some stuff happened between my dad and my mom. I ended up with my dad. I heard stories that I was taken at gunpoint kind of thing from my dad and some crazy stuff. That's why I was with my dad. I have no
You
idea.
got brothers and sisters?
No, I have a half sister and I don't have any other siblings
Gotcha.
from that
Yep.
marriage. When my dad and me moved back down to LA area, it was we met my stepmom and her son, which my brother Jeremy, and then they had a child together, which is my sister Amanda,
Gotcha.
and me and my sister are tight.
Awesome.
Like she's amazing. She lives in Vegas. That girl is like the best artist. Like I look up to her, and she's my little sister.
She took after your dad then.
Oh yes, I mean she took my dad and my stepmom. They were both artists. My dad's a world-renowned. He's a Pinstriper Hall of Fame.
Wow.
We're part of the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
Anything Rat Fink we
Yeah,
can do.
okay.
So I grew up in that hot rod lifestyle in Southern California. You know, we painted a car for the Beach Boys
cool.
movie.
Nice.
So if you ever watched that Beach Boys movie, that roadster that's in there,
You
that
guys
yellow
painted
canary
that?
yellow with the
Wow.
flames. Yep. So my dad painted that. There's tons of that California lifestyle,
Yeah.
the drive-ins and the car hops and car shows, and so I grew up like we took cars out of junkyards. I grew up poor. So my parents were the starving artists. We didn't always have a whole lot of money. I didn't have a nice pair of shoes. Like I didn't have nice stuff. So my parents did all this work and they were these artists. So I grew up in an artist shop, basically a garage. So I got to be the spoiled kid, basically, the way I look at it. I got spoiled with hardship and learning how I didn't understand that. I didn't know that we were poor. We got to go to junkyards and pull these things out of junkyards, these old. So a 56 Ford ranch wagon was one of the last vehicle. No, there was a Falcon in the mix there too. We'd pull these cars out of the junkyard and then in the garage they went and we were yanking them, cherry picker came in, we'd yank the motor out, rebuild, like we did everything ourselves.
Nice.
Like we didn't pay other people to do this stuff. Like we didn't have the money for it. We were buying little parts here and there as we could, or we're going out of the junkyard and finding things. And then we're refurbishing these things. The water pump's busted. We didn't go buy a water pump. We rebuilt the thing.
That's right.
We got a little tub out and rebuilt the thing. And so this hard knocks of figuring things out is just, that's why I think that I'm spoiled. And I'm okay with calling myself spoiled, that I got to learn these things that other people didn't, because I look at it as a good thing.
Absolutely.
That now I have this trait. I have this thing that I can't unlearn. I got to learn how to dig myself out of a hole from a very young age. So now when I have money and I grew up and I joined the military and I went about my life and I lived and all that. Life is easier, when I find myself in a rough situation, I'm not going to be like, kick my feet and, oh my God, oh my God, how do I get out of this? I don't know what to do and just give up.
Right.
I don't, that's not in my nature. I don't know how to, I don't understand it. So when I look at other people and I see them doing it and I'm like, why are you, I've been through this a million times. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, come on, let's go.
Yep.
I'm like, get up, stop crying, wipe your tears, let's go. Like it's not a big deal, man. Or hey, it's a motorcycle. So what? It's just a motorcycle. Like fix it. Like it's a bearing, or it's like you got bent handlebars. So what? Tear the thing out and build some new ones and make them cooler.
Hey, Jason,
So
let me ask you this,
Yeah.
man. Talking about motorcycles, your pop was a stunt man. So when did you start getting introduced into bikes? Because he was in the gang. He was in the motorcycle gang at that time. How old were you when that was going on?
He quit, and it was a hard thing to get out of. I'm sure
Yeah.
it was, from what I've heard. I know that they followed. So my dad got out right before I was
Oh,
born.
okay.
Like he
Gotcha.
quit all of that. He got rid of his motorcycles, and he fully focused on raising a son. And he quit doing all the. I don't think he had a motorcycle. I haven't seen any pictures of me once I was born. There were no motorcycles in the
So
picture.
when did you
So
officially
he must
get
have sold them.
introduced? When did you start riding yourself?
Not until 2010 or 2011.
Okay.
I painted motorcycles for other people all the time, and they are my customers.
Yep.
Me and my dad's customers would let us ride their bike, and I'd go to it, but I never it wasn't really a thing. I was still into hot rods. I was a hot rod guy, but that was four wheels.
Got it.
I was never really. I mean, I liked riding motorcycles, but I never really got into it fully
later.
until
Yeah,
later.
a lot of people do that.
I never had the financial means to actually go and get that. And honestly, I think I was chasing women a little too much, and that
Yeah.
it wasn't much on my radar. I was just like, I was doing whatever. I
Hopes
didn't
and
even care.
dreams.
Yeah, I was just I was chasing the,
Of course,
I was
of course,
chasing,
of course.
I was chasing that. So I was in a different
What
spot,
was your first bike?
So
Do you remember?
my first
Yeah.
bike, it's right back here, 1979 KZ1000.
No kidding.
I pimped it out. I bought it for $600 on Craigslist, and that was back in 2010.
Yep.
I moved in with my buddy Danny Allen. He was an amazing artist. Me and him clicked. Like, we were both into the same stuff. He was a hot rodder, and it didn't matter what it was. If it had 2 wheels, 4 wheels, 3 wheels, like, we didn't care. Like, if it had a motor, we were like gearheads. Like, we love like building stuff. So I remember one time we were out at his mom and dad's place, and me and him, we bought this junk motorcycle, and but it was in good condition. It was all there. Like, all we needed to do was a little work and probably get it going. But instead, me and him cut this bike in half, and we, stretched the frame out, and we made it a hardtail. And, his dad comes out there. He's like, "What the hell did you guys do? You guys just cut that bike in half. It was a perfectly good." But like, so
Right.
we're trying to make it cooler, We were riding that bike by the end of the day.
Jeez.
Like, it took us one day to chop this bike up,
Put it
and we
back
were riding
together.
it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Put it back together. Like, this is the hot rod mentality. We just jumped into it. We had this idea and wanted to do this thing. And I rode that bike for a couple years. Actually, I rode it for about a year just to kind of like, wow, you know what? Riding is pretty cool. You know what? So I went and I found this bike on Craigslist, this 79 KZ1000. That's a police model. And this guy I got it from, he only wanted 600. It was a basket case. Like, the guy kind of just butchered everything. He chopped it and made it kind of like this bobber, rat bike. And so this is my first motorcycle. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, it's half a car. It's 4-cylinder bike. It's got a sprocket and a chain, and, it's got a carburetor. It's got spark plug. It's not much different than a car. So I start tearing into this thing, and I get it going. And I ride it for about 3 years before I finally decided to really tear into it and build exactly what I want. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something for me. And then that's where I built it into this. I spent about, it actually is about 4 months when I finally figured out how to get the motor out of the frame. Some old timer guy, friend of ours, or actually an uncle of my buddy Danny. I was out at this event, and I was telling him, he's like, "So how's that KZ coming?" Because he's a KZ guy. And he's like, how's that bike coming? And I was like, well, I can't get the damn motor out. I've been trying for the past 2 months, trying to strong arm this thing out of there. He's like, and he's old and seasoned, and he's like, just lay the bike over and pull the frame off the motor. I was like, what? I went home. Yep. I went home that night, and sure enough, I laid the bike over on a rolling cart, a wooden cart, so the motor would stay on that, and I just lifted the frame right off the motor. And so, like 28 days, almost a month later, I was done with the bike because I went off to the races. Once I got that extra motivation of finally solving a problem, because I was trying to do all this by myself. I'm honestly, I'm a by myself kind of. I love cranking the music up and jamming out. That's my hot rod therapy.
Right.
I love getting into a zone, in this total creative zone, and I call it La La Land. I go out there in the garage, I crank the music, and none of my back pain matters. None of me missing my daughter who lives in Kansas, missing my dad. No mental or physical pain that's my recipe. It's like taking a handful of ibuprofen or something that's my mask kind of thing. I use a distractive therapy, a hot rod therapy, working on motorcycles and jamming out to music, because while I'm in that la la land of working on those motorcycles and it's not just a restoration project. Me and my dad always had this thing called stock sucks. So a stock motorcycle or stock car sucks. Pimp it out. Like, do something to it. Like, make it something that says that it's yours.
Right.
So in that process of being creative and like this bike that's behind me, like I've never done almost the same thing twice. Like I've got 23 motorcycles that we've built in this organization, and there isn't another one like them on the planet.
Right.
I don't build a motorcycle that's been done before.
Cool.
Nothing that I do has ever been done. So in that process of me troubleshooting and figuring out how to build this thing, and use ideas that I've scavenged through visualizing and looking at life all over the place, and taking all of that energy and putting it into this weird contraption,
Yeah.
this thing, and having it become this thing. That's the journey of that, is where, you know, all this takes place and all this happens. So
Absolutely.
when I was building that, so like my dad's ashes are in the last coat of clear
Oh wow.
on my KZ, the
What
first
a
bike
cool
that I
idea.
built. So that's where my head was at. Like, so me and my brother, I had my brother come in from Ohio just to help me shoot the last. He shot one half of the tank, and I shot the other half of the tank
That's cool.
with my dad's ashes
Dang,
in the clear coat.
that's crazy. What a cool idea. Hey, let's
So
switch gears real quick. I
yeah,
wanted to ask you about your
okay,
career. U.S. Army, what a combat engineer, right? Tell us about
yep,
your
yep.
experiences in that, and kind of the key memories and key lessons that you took away from that into what you're doing now.
Uh, okay. Honestly, I'd have to say that 99% of it was a freaking blast. Like, I had an amazing time in the military. I would have loved to have stayed in the whole time. The camaraderie, the cool stuff that I got to do. I mean, to build something and then get to blow it up,
Yeah,
like, was amazing. You know, I was an engineer. I got to be part of several core engineer projects, you know, destroying a bridge,
sweet.
you know, that'd been there for 100+ years. You know, this bridge had, you know, railroad tracks built into it. It was one of them big, huge arched iron,
Yeah,
you know, bridge that it was green and rusty, and this thing was just, you know, it was deteriorating. It had a 2-lane road in it and a railroad track in it. And we got to go in
big
there and
bridge.
work with the core engineers and make all of our cuts, settle our charges, and bam, blow that thing and let it drop right down into the river. And then they came in with cranes and yanked the thing out. But I got to be part of some really
So
cool
cool.
projects like that. Building 2 miles of fence down on the border in Nogales, Arizona. You know, so being deployed down to Mexico for a few months was really cool.
Nice.
So to learn how to use all of that equipment and kind of see, you know, kind of how, you know, border patrol actions work, and visualize all these things and kind of see how this works. And plus it gave me something for when I got out of the military too. Um, and then, you know, 2 NTC rotations, you know, actually I lost 2 people out there, but I witnessed one of them.
Nice.
So that was a hard thing to get over, but, and part of the reason why I really got into the mental health side of where I'm at now is because of kind of how, and nothing against our leadership, when, you know, when that instance happened in the military, so we're in NTC and this training accident happens, a guy loses his life. I witnessed the thing, how all that transpired afterwards, how all of us were treated kind of thing, or it wasn't so much of how they treated us. It's just kind of how it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal, and I don't know if they purposely kind of made it, "Hey, back to
Yeah.
business, guys." You know, it was, and so we kind of were like, "Okay." We didn't get to, there was no grieving,
It's
there was
got to
none
be
of,
right. I mean, it's got to be back to business. They can't if they were
yeah,
to dwell on
but
everything that happens. You know,
so I
people's morale, right? I mean, it's just that
yeah,
destruction of that.
so I finally just, you know, so this is 20 years later. This was just literally almost 4 months ago that I finally went in for mental health
Good for you.
to address, because I'd never addressed my mental, like, I never talked about what happened that day with anyone. No one, not my wife, not my dad, you know. So this is 20+ years ago. This happened in like 98, I think it was. I didn't talk to I didn't ever talk to my friends about this. I never talked to anybody about this. So I go in there, and I basically told this lady, and I actually have an appointment with her tomorrow. It's another follow up, and I've been going to see her for the
Good.
past 4 or 5 months. You know, I go
Good for
once a
you, man.
month. So I had never fully actually sat down and literally told minute by, like as if I was explaining a movie. Like, I went from minute to minute and I relived that experience. And what that did was, I didn't realize why I was so tore up about it. And what I found out, and I can tell you this part, it was it wasn't the action of it happening, of his life
Mhm.
ended. It wasn't that part. It was what happened afterwards. And I remember standing off the back of headquarters company, in between battalion and headquarters, I'm at the back of the loading dock, and I'm standing down there with two of my other buddies, and we're smoking and joking. And I see Sergeant Blackwell. He was the TC of the 113. He's the one that pulled the guy off the controls that got injured. He got shot. And I witnessed that happen, and I know that he was the one that pulled him out. Like, he lost all of his fingers. I think he only had 2 or 3 fingers left after this ordeal.
Jeez.
But he had it in him still to be in shock, to go down there through the TC hatch, go under there, grab the guy off, and stop that 1-1 because it was flying through the desert. And, so Sergeant Blackwell was the guy in there that all this happened to. He lost one of his soldiers. So this is in my head. I know this happened to him, and he feels to blame, kind of thing. Like, which he had there was no way. It was a ghost round. The range was down. Like, there was nobody was supposed to have these rounds. It was just an accident. Like, so he did his job, and I don't know if anybody ever told him that. But I didn't even get a chance to. I'm a young kid. I'm 19. I'm 20 years old. Like, I don't know. I'm standing there smoking and joking, bullshitting with my 2 buddies on the back of the loading dock. Sergeant Blackwell walks out of the back of headquarters company, and he's standing there in a sling on the back of, battalion. He's got bandages everywhere because that shrapnel, it went all over him, and he lost mostly his fingers because that's, because he had a TC helmet on, and I think he had goggles, and, because it's real dusty out there. It's what happened afterwards. So when this doctor asked me, she's like, "So what's your problem?" And then bam, I don't know why, but it just like came out of me. I was like, because I'm like, because she said, "So what's the problem?" I was like, I never said anything to him. I don't know what happened to Sergeant Blackwell.
Oh, wow.
I didn't. I saw him standing there on the back of the loading dock, and I could see in his eyes, he was wearing his emotions on his sleeves. I could tell his career was over. He was getting medically discharged. Like, he was an E5, and like, he was a super soldier, the most squared away E5 that I ever met in my life. That dude was a lifer. Like, this isn't the way he wanted to go out on a freaking training exercise, So, and I never, I'm an E4, and I don't really think at that time, because I was a short timer. Like, I was in the sham army. I didn't give a F about nothing. I wasn't afraid to walk up to a sergeant major or a colonel or anything, salute him, do my thing, and have a regular conversation with them. I wasn't afraid of anybody. So it wasn't that. I think I was afraid of emotionally going up and talking to him. But so I've carried that my entire life, wishing I would have went up and talked to him and hugged him like a brother.
Right.
I never hugged him. Like, that it still tears me up that I didn't go and, talk to this man, that he was my brother, and I didn't say goodbye to him and say it was going to be okay, dude. Like, this is the rest of your life.
Right.
Like, I didn't get to have that conversation with him. Like, and I wish I would have. So now with this organization, I get to do that with these guys after what happened.
Well, that's perfect.
And
hey, listen, that's perfect, because that kind of takes us into the next question, which is, what inspired you to create Operation Charlie Bravo? Was there like specific moments or a time frame in your life that kind of sparked this idea?
I am an angry veteran, and I was pissed because I'm sick and tired of everybody spreading awareness about a problem they don't plan on fixing. So this all came out of spite and me wanting to solve a problem. It was a mixed thing. Like, I like solving problems. I'm an engineer. Like, I love fixing problems. I don't want to sit around and listen to you bitch and complain about your problems and sit around and drink beer at a bar and, oh my God, my life sucks. Shut up. Like, let's go. Come on. Like, there's stuff you could still be happy. I know guys with missing legs and and they're still happy. They're out there living life and rolling around doing happy stuff. My buddy Don, I was here when he lost his leg. Like, we had to help him make that choice to lose his leg. Like, let's go. Like, either get busy living or get busy dying. Like, you got a choice. Come on. You could still be happy. You could still find a way to win. Find solutions. Don't bitch and complain about problems. If you don't have a solution to a problem, shut up.
Right.
Like, or go look for it. Something. I like to be around positive people and help negative people find a way to win. See, look, like, you can win. You're not alone. You're not alone in this process. So come in here. Let's figure out what's going on in your life and let's fix it. Come on, let's go. I don't want to hear, like, I'll hear you vent or whatever, but if you don't plan on coming up with a solution to this problem, then I don't want to hear it. You just want to
Yeah.
complain. You don't want to do anything about your problem. So that's what I do, and the reason why I did this, because I owned a company called the Zinc Factory, and I was basically a marketing company. So I'm a graphic artist, I'm a tattoo artist, I'm an airbrush artist, pinstriper. Like I do everything paint. I'm an all-around artist. So all of my website and the logo and all of that, I designed all of this.
That's cool.
And I've done all of our marketing. I did half my tattoos myself, and I like to dabble and sample and master something and then move to the next thing because I get bored easily, kind of, really. And plus, I love having a huge resume. I love having a tool in my belt to know that I can use it whenever I want. If I had to do a tattoo, I could do a tattoo. If whatever, I have something to fall back on no matter where I go. So the reasoning behind this was that I was running a for-profit business, veteran-owned business, me and my wife, called the Zinc Factory. And I was a marketing business, and I help people design their websites or their logos or their flyers or brochures, letterheads, truck lettering, vehicle lettering. I printed T-shirts. I printed T-shirts and stuff. So I was a serigrapher.
You still
So
have
I had
that
a
business or no?
No, part of my contract to work for the organization was that I had to offload and get rid of my
Got that,
business.
got that,
So
got
it's pretty sad that my most lucrative business that I've ever had in my entire life, I had to basically
Man.
trash it to work here. But I love this.
Well, what was the objective starting this? What was your true objective of getting your 501c, and what was the reason? I mean, I get the fact that
Okay.
you want to get people moving but take us into that part where you really created this and said, I'm going to put this into motion and this is what I'm going to do. How did that come about?
So my wife saw that 79 KZ 1000 I was telling
Yeah.
you about after I got done building it. My wife saw so after I got done with that bike, I'm happy as can be because I'm giving myself hot rod therapy. So she sees how I'm interacting with her, when I come in the house and how I'm happy around here because I'm dosing myself once a week or a couple times a week or a few times a week, and I'm getting my therapy. That's part of my ingredients. So I'm happy because I'm getting to work on my motorcycle and I'm doing my thing. So I'm maintaining this happiness level. So when I come in the house and I interact with my wife, I'm being happy with her. I'm not short with her because I've getting my fill of this therapy. I don't realize this is happening, and she doesn't realize it until later. Once I finished my bike and I went like 2-3 weeks without working on a project, because I finished my bike, I didn't know what else to start. I didn't know what to work on. I didn't have another project. I didn't have anything to work on because I was done with my bike. So I started getting short with her. I started getting snippy. I was just working. I was in this mundane cycle of work, home, work, home, work, home, work, home. And I wasn't doing anything for myself.
Right.
It's part of the puzzle, which I created later. It's a 4-puzzle piece in order to maintain your happiness level in your life. And I can explain that later. But I didn't realize that this was happening when my wife said to me, she's like, "You're being an asshole." I was like, "You need to get back out in the garage and build something. That's when you were happy." And I was like, "Thank you." And I was like, that was my aha moment. And I grabbed my wife. I was like, "Thank you for that." And I kissed her because it was like, I don't know, like Jimmy Neutron, and he's coming up with that idea and all the sparks go in his head. That's what happened to me. I was like, no freaking way. My whole entire life. And this is what it took. Like it all came together. Like every single thing that I've learned in my entire life, it just came to me. It was like, no shit. Like this is the solution. I was doing it to myself the whole time and I didn't even know I was doing it. So I took my recipe on how I maintain my own happiness and I turned it into a thing. And now I teach other veterans how to be happy by distracting yourself in moderation with hot rod therapy and all these different programs that we have. I have 7 different programs to moderate the happiness level in your life. And that's the idea of the organization. And our entire organization is to moderate the happiness level in a veteran's life.
Awesome.
Did you have any other
So
personal experiences or challenges that motivated you to create Operation Charlie Bravo?
I mean my own traumas and And that's it. I learned from doing it to myself. I was like my own guinea
Gotcha.
pig. It's like I injected myself with my own drugs kind of thing, and I guinea pigged myself and everything that worked for myself. And then whatever doesn't work for me. So that's how I found when I meet different demographics of veterans, they all are interested in different things. I use my same recipe, it's the same exact recipe on veterans that are interested in something totally different. Like so Friday nights is our jam session. It's all music therapy. I'm not a musician. Like I'm not into playing music. It doesn't do it for me. Like I like listening to music. I love jamming out, but I'm not one to sit around and play guitar or the harmonica or a banjo or a piano. It's not my thing. Like I'm all for other people. So now we have freaking 13 pianos. It seems like we keep getting pianos donated to us. But we got a drum set.
Nice.
There's like 12, 13, 14 guitars. I don't know. We just keep getting them.
Cool.
So I've lost track of the count of them. So that's every Friday night. Every Friday night is jam set. It's jam night. It's the jam program. So they go in there and they jam out. They got PAs, microphones, computer, laptop stuff that hooks up, and they just jam out. That's their music night.
Awesome.
So that group of veterans is hanging out. They're all musically inclined. It's called near peer. So not only are they near peered in the music realm, they're also all veterans. So they all have the same or very close traumas. So they have the ability to immediately connect. The ice is already broken, and they get to communicate with each other using the same exact language.
That's wild.
And they also have something else in common that they get to. So now they have all these new friends. This is one of the biggest things that we miss is that camaraderie in the military.
Jason, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you were setting this up, and then once you got your 501c, you were ready to go. How did you go about reaching out to these veterans to kind of give them your idea or what you were implementing, right? So how did you recruit people to come to the organization and to start helping them out? Like what was the outsourcing? Like how did you go about that?
It was initially word of mouth and then social media. I created the Facebook page right off the bat. But I mean, there was a lot of, man, I was thinking it wasn't going to succeed in the beginning. There was a lot of days where I'm out there in the garage taking selfies of myself with all the motorcycles in the background. Come on, guys.
Right.
I'm begging veterans to come out and hang out in the garage with me and work on this motorcycle. But I built most of the first bike myself because getting started, but I had to stick with it.
Right.
Every single Sunday, I was out there taking pictures of projects and doing doing the social media and trying to post things and stay relevant and sharing it out there. And plus, because me and my wife's business, me and my wife fronted all the money in the beginning to we've put well over, I'd hate to even imagine what we're at. We're at easily over 50 grand already,
Right,
just
out of
in the
pocket.
past 9 years out of pocket and counting. To get the thing started, because we had, there was a lot of things that we needed, merchandise and stuff that we could raise more money, and stickers for marketing and stuff like that, wristbands and, website and all these things that are needed to run this place. Not everybody's just walking up to you and say, oh, here you go. Here's $100. Here's
Right.
$100. Here's $20. Love what you're doing, but yet you have no marketing. Like I had to build it. So we had to like do a lot of startup stuff. So that in the beginning, like it was difficult. We had 2 board members that were on with, it was me, my wife, and 2 other people that founded it. But it was within a month they bounced. They were like, because they had different ideas of how they wanted to make money off the
Right.
organization.
Okay.
We didn't. Me and my wife already had a business. We didn't need, like, so that was what it was supposed to be, is to administer hot rod, teach veterans how to have hot rod therapy and build motorcycles in my little shed in our backyard in Cedar Lake, Indiana,
Amazing.
So that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
And then it just grew from there. But I mean, getting exposure, and I'm still on the point of where I'm not trying really hard right now because we're so overloaded with veterans right now. And my house isn't done. Like we just bought this building 2 years ago, but I can't find capital money. Like money, like every grant that we get, they don't let us work on, they won't let us use it to fix our
gosh.
building. So every other money that so if we get a $40,000 grant, so say the IDVA, none of that money can be used for capital campaign to fix the roof or fix the drywall or build a little room or
Right.
something. Fix some electrical. I can't use it to fix up our building to make it worth
Yeah.
more money.
Right.
which we're not moving out of here. So I don't know why we need this building to provide services
Right.
to veterans. We're open 24/7 to veterans.
24/7.
24/7. Veterans have their own thumbprint that they can get into the building.
Wow.
You know, once they've had 4 visits here, they can get in the building and use this whole facility anytime they
That's
want.
Cool, man.
It's our own doghouse
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Early
So,
on in the beginning days, what were some of the other challenges, but also more importantly, what successes did you experience where you were realizing, this is really something good?
I mean, when you have a veteran's daughter walk up to you and hug you we had an anniversary party one year. And this has happened in different instances. It's just the one that really sticks out to me. When you have a veteran's daughter walk up to you and hug you and whisper in your ear and say, "Thank you, I got my daddy back."
Awesome.
How can you
Right.
not yank yourself out of bed every morning, and no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many obstacles and bad things and bills you got to pay, and damn, that thing broke, or hey, I got to buy this tool, or we got these, mortgage payments and we're struggling to try to raise money and we're going to this fundraiser, that fundraiser, and we're begging for money everywhere. Like, when I get up every single morning, I think about that kind of stuff.
Killer.
That motivates me to, like, come on, you cannot fail these people or the next person that I might be able to affect. So maybe their kid or their daughter gets to be able to have a parent
Mhm.
back,
Absolutely.
that is now happy again and they're getting sleep,
Right.
or, something positive has changed in their life. And when I hear that, when I hear the positive effect, that snowball
Yeah.
effect, when I hear how a family member is affected by the veteran that I affected, the trifecta, when I hear it on the back end, way back here, that is
Fire you
like
up.
amazing.
Yeah.
And now the next thing that I'm about to do is I'm going to prove it to the government that it's economically
Good for
viable.
you.
So I have an economic study that I'm working on with Indiana University economics.
Yep.
We're ready to just a business school. I'm supposed to be meeting here in the next couple of weeks with a couple professors, and we're about to start a economic study on how it's beneficial for veterans to be alive, just be alive.
Yeah.
Busy.
Alive veterans spend money. Like, we blow it. Like, when we have money, we blow it.
Yeah.
Like, we are spenders. But if we have committed suicide or we're homeless,
Yeah.
how much money are we
Yeah.
spending?
Yeah, no doubt, man.
I'm helping rehabilitate veterans and get them to be more, just to have them have more money and be happy. Happy veterans spend money.
Hey,
Happy people
Yeah.
spend
that's
money,
right.
period.
Let me ask you this. OCB, you guys offer various programs for veterans. Can you let's just go into each program that you do. Let's start with hot rod therapy. Can you kind of take the listeners a little bit? I'll go down the programs, but give us a little roundabout of what this program's all about, so our listeners can understand a little bit more of each thing
Good.
that you guys offer. Let's start with hot rod therapy.
Yeah, hot rod therapy is pretty much everything DIY. It's evolved. Now we have a metal forge. Like, you can bang out. We have a big anvil and a forge, blast furnace for melting down metal. Like, it's forging, not kind of like forging fire in our building. Like, we have all this stuff for you to make a knife, furniture restoration. Hot rod therapy it's still one of our main programs where you can come in as a veteran, and if you express the interest to build your own bike, or you can bring in your own bike and put that $2,000 budget towards
Killer.
the bike that you currently have. We've had a couple people do that.
And what
They
do you
just
do?
wanted to.
You offer each veteran $2,000 to their project. Is that how?
Yes, and
Can you
they
tell us
have to
about
get in
that?
line. Yeah, they have to get in line behind. I mean, there's a queue of veterans. So, like, right now, there's 3 veterans on the 3 lifts. So in the HRT building, there are 3 individual garages. Basically, they're not segregated. They don't have walls
Right,
up
right,
yet,
right.
but I plan on putting tool walls up, so they have their own space, kind of like their own mini garage. I'm simulating garage spaces, and I have 3 of those. And they got their own air lifts
Nice.
for raising the bike up and down. They have their own air supplies. They have their own welders. They have their own toolboxes. that each of those three have their own stuff there in their, plus they have their own racks for storing their parts and stuff, and staying organized. So I teach those three people, and they're all in different phases because they all started at different times and they're moving at different speeds based on their knowledge base. Some come in, they already know because they are mechanically inclined. But then there's some that they have no clue. I've never even changed the oil on my car before. So everybody's at a different level. So that's where, but it's the teamwork makes the dreamer thing between us and the 6 degrees of separation. So our entire shop is full of other veterans that aren't on that lift yet. So they get to be involved and use their own knowledge and expertise, or YouTube.
Right.
Like we figure it out. We find a way. We got manuals, instruction manuals, Chilton's books, whatever, all these, ways of solving a problem, not taking no for an answer. Figure this thing out. But you only have a $2,000 budget. You got to find a way to make $2,000 stretch this entire thing. And I've done it 23 times. So I know that you can stretch $2,000 into building this basket case. As long as how I assess a bike is if I pull the bike over and kick it over or crank the motor over, if it's not locked up, I can build that bike.
Right.
I don't care what else. I could probably do $2,000 or less in that bike. I've proved it 23 times that I've taken these junk motorcycles, and the deal is that the bike has to be worth less than $2,000. So it has to be a turd. Like it has to be like a junk motorcycle. Because here's the metaphorical thing: it has to be a resurrection process, and it's twofold. It's a win-win. So you get this cool custom motorcycle, and you get this newly resurrected badass veteran that now is a motorcycle builder. So now you got two polished turds, basically, So
hey, so
now
you mentioned the Blaster program. Take us a little bit into the Lima Charlie Veteran Peer Support Group.
Okay, Lima Charlie. That's every Thursday night. That's the true assessment, really, because hot rod therapy is so loud in the shop. There isn't a whole lot of sitting down and talking and, hey, what's going on in your life, and the bro talk, like, what's going on, dude? What's going on in your life? Like, Lima Charlie is the one where you're sitting there and actually assessing and figuring out, okay, so I have a process in there. It's a threefold process. And number one is, your name, and then where you served, just basic. I need those 2 bits of information. Jason Zaideman, U.S. Army. I was a combat engineer, 96 to 2000. That brief. That's only those 2 things. And once I have those 2 things, the third thing that I need is I want to know, what do you do in a 24-hour period of time? I'm trying to assess your daily average and see, what are you doing? How are you filling gaps? Where do you have idle time? That's what I want to see, is like, where's your hot rod therapy, or where's your, get lost, or your fat program? What are you doing with your life to keep yourself happy? Like, I want to know what you're doing. And once I know what you're doing, I'm going to tell you, like, dude, you aren't doing anything. You're sitting at your house. You're in your mom's basement, and you're not doing anything. I'm like, why not? Like, what's keeping you from going out and doing stuff? Whatever it is. What are you into? Are you into music, or build motorcycles, basket weaving? What are you into? Like, you build little marionette dolls, or whatever you're into. Like, I will help you chase that thing. And we have all the resources. Like, we're a big art supply studio, basically. Whatever you're into, I'm going to help you develop that trade or that thing. I don't care what you're into. I'm a Renaissance man. I will find a way to master anything. I don't care what it is. So if you are interested in something, you need to vocalize that to me, and I will find a way in this facility to bring the tools and the supplies that are needed for you to be able to accomplish that thing. I will do what I can to keep you busy and help you be distracted. Be distracted with good, positive things in your life, and basically, hey, when you swing a hammer and you hit it, it hurts, right? Move your freaking hand. Like, stop hitting yourself.
Right.
Like, let's go. Like, let's figure this out.
You got the jam program, which kind of relates more to music, where you were saying you got all those pianos and drum sets.
Yep.
So anybody who's a musician could come in there, jam, kind of get their first get that.
Yep.
Head back
and
on.
see, there's also challenges provided for that too, that I don't think everybody fully understands that's there, is that not all of this music equipment none of it's brand new. None of this whole entire place is brand new. So the challenge that's given to them is that all of these guitars and pianos and drum sets, they're all hand-me-down things that are not probably in that great of shape. They get to learn how to refurbish those things here. They're rebuilding guitars. There's one guy that's building a guitar from scratch right now, because he found the interest to basically build this thing and see if he could do it.
Yep.
Just challenge himself, and he's staying busy in the process. And I'm going to help him paint it and do the coding and all.
Hey guys, the show will be back in 1 minute right after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, One Gang, tired of feeling like your butt's taking more of a beating than your bike on those long rides? Introducing Butt Buffer, the ultimate solution to saddle soreness. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. These cushions are made from medical-grade viscoelastic polymer, scientifically crafted to eliminate pressure points and keep your circulation flowing. No more numb nuts or numb butts. And here's the best part. Butt Buffer cushions are made right here in the U.S. for the last 30 years. From Harleys to Hondas, we've got a cushion to fit your ride perfectly. Plus, with styles ranging from sleek pebble polymer to luxurious sheepskin, there's a Butt Buffer for every rider's style. Get your Butt Buffer today at buttbuffer.com. That's buttbuffer.com. Your butt will thank you, and you'll ride longer and happier. We've got your butt covered.
All that stuff on it.
Man.
So,
and you got two that are kind of more towards activity based. You got the FAT program, right, which is kind of health wellness initiatives.
Yep.
And then you get Lost Outdoor program that kind of gets them outside, fresh air, away from television and radioactive bullshit, right? Get into those two quickly for us.
Yeah, FAT program is literally. I always wanted a program called the FAT program. We had it in the military. It was the guys that were a little overweight or
it's important.
They couldn't pass tape. There's some guys, man, they're jacked. These are muscle-bound dudes that are amazing guys, and I know they could carry us out the field. But if you don't pass tape in the military, that's a problem. And you ended up on the FAT program, and we all thought it was stupid. I'm like, this dude is jacked. Like, why are you putting him on the FAT program? The guy is just all muscle. Like, so it was one of those funny things. And so FAT is fitness and tranquility. That's the name of it. Me and Dan Reardon named it. He's the guy that he's the program director for it. So it's all fitness related and dietetic. So that's where the assessment comes in and figures out where you're at. And we have an app too. So I don't know if you guys played around with our website, but we have an app that every veteran here has on their phone, and they can sign into any of these 7 programs. And then I think there's a couple other things too. But the FAT program is everything about getting your body and your mind, because they're connected.
Yep.
If your nutrition you're dehydrated and you're not eating the right foods, and you're overweight and you can't touch your toes and tie your shoes, and that's a quality of life thing. Everything's a struggle. So if you can get yourself in a little bit better shape, you'll understand that it's connected to your mind too. Like, you'll be happier when you're feeling better. I do it to myself. I got to get back in the gym and
Of course.
and keep myself nutrition. My nutrition level at a fairly moderated within the 80th percentile, and I'll be okay. Get Lost program. This is my favorite one here. It's one of the newest ones. We're getting right. So last year, this is an adventure program. So it's everything about. Most of all of the programs in this building and everything that we do have always simulated to a small degree our military careers into them a little bit. So the Get Lost program is an adventure program simulating a deployment without all the war and shooting and all that stuff, and all the bullshit that goes along with the higher ups and them telling us what to do, and hey, you got to go there, and all the push-ups and all the things that we didn't like about our military experiences. So the Get Lost program is all the things that we did love about it. Was going out in the middle of nowhere to this new land, this new place that we've never been, and we get to be with our fellow veterans and camp and be off the grid and disconnect and shut our phones off and be out in nature and explore these new places. And or even sometimes, like, it's kind of funny, but we joke about it, but these adventures are very and sometimes high risk. Like, we rode up this steep incline, and now we call ourselves the 18 percenters because this hill was 18%. And it was a thing that we didn't know that was going to happen, but we all know that we're going to run into these kind of things, these challenges on this trip. It's a camping trip, and we rode up to the UP. We went all the way up to Copper Harbor. We rode all along the coastline, 1,400, I don't remember how many thousand miles it was. was like 1,600 miles. I could be wrong. I don't remember how much it was, but we rode along that whole shoreline and all the adventures that we got to have together, the dumb things that we get to saw, the laughs that we
Camaraderie,
had.
man.
I mean, we went on a late night ruck march in the middle of the night. It's like 11:30 at night, and we're in a campground up in it was in kind of like the crotch of the UP up there. I forget the name of the town or whatever, but we're way up in Lake Superior, and we're in this campground. It's 11:30 at night. We got our little spotlights on our head, and we're walking through this campground. We start singing cadence. Y'all help, you know, we're want the money, you know, we're singing and everything. And my God, we had a blast. And I don't know what the other campers in the campground were probably thinking, like, what is going on here? But I mean, we had a blast. We had an absolute blast. We got to have this camaraderie. So this year, so we leave in September, the 8th through the 15th, I think. So this is just next month.
Yep.
Like we're gearing up. So we're going to the Ozarks. We're going to Arkansas. So I already have the itinerary. I already have everything mapped out where we're going.
Nice.
And we're going through Fort Leonard Wood. I haven't been there since '96. We're hoping to get the post command sergeant major to come down and visit our campsite and, you know, check us out. And so it's just an adventure trip. And we're going from Sunday to Sunday.
Nice.
So we leave Sunday morning. We say goodbye to all of our fellow veterans here at the shop, the ones that aren't going with us. We say goodbye to them. We jump on our motorcycles like we're deploying, and we got all of our gear, our helmets and gloves, and our bags packed on the bikes, and off we go.
Cool.
You know.
That's gonna be
Hey, I love I love these two final ones because I think, you know, everything here that you're talking about is hands-on stuff that brings them to the things that they love and kind of gets them away from their normal routine. But I think the On Your Feet program, which is kind of the financial assistance, job placement, educational support, and the veteran service officer, which is assistance with disability claims, VA resources. Those are very underrated and overlooked programs because I think a lot of these guys, they skip shit like this. You know, they don't take the time to do it. It frustrates them because of the time it takes, the amount of information that they have to provide. Maybe they don't have the focus to finish this stuff. So the fact that you guys do this for them is absolutely awesome. Can you just give us a little brief stint on each program?
Yeah, so I designed the On Your Feet program to be everything financial assistance related. So a lot of what veterans forget is that it's one of the. So I divvied a human body into 4 puzzle pieces, and if you can moderate those 4 puzzle pieces, you should be happy. If you can keep each one of them within the 80 percentile of these 4 puzzle pieces, and finances is one of those because you got to have a roof over your head. So in this finance realm, in continued education, voc rehab, having a better career, money management, not realizing that you're spending beyond your means, and maybe if you just budgeted differently. So it's everything about coaching and figuring out how you're spending your money, what is your incoming and what is your outgoing, and getting that debt to income ratio proper. Is it more cost efficient for you to just go buy a house? Like, dude, you're spending all this money in rent. I bet you could buy a house for way less. And they're like, I never thought of that. So then we have all of these connections with these mortgage brokers. We got Scott Swinford, you know, with Hancock Mortgage, and we've got these financial assistance programs out there. We partner with all of these professionals out there that know how to do this. And so I don't know if you actually went through and tried to apply for the program, but when you go in there to apply as a veteran in our app, and you go in there to apply, you check the boxes to the things that you're interested in. Because I want it tailored to each veteran, because not everybody's going to be interested in debt consolidation or credit repair, or I'm filing for bankruptcy, or should I file for bankruptcy? Not everybody's going to be interested in that, because when you hit that submit button, it goes to all of those individuals that have volunteered to help you solve that problem. So depending on the checkbox that you mark, that's how that works.
That's cool.
So that's the On Your Feet program. It's everything to, you know, so I'm working right now. I'm trying to work with the Department of Labor right now. I actually just had a meeting with them, and I'm trying to tailor a lot of this stuff into, you know, with them. So On Your Feet program is just everything with solving. So here's the question to ask. Right now, if you had $10 million in your pocket, you just were awarded it. No questions asked, deposit it in your account. You cannot tell me that you wouldn't be happier, and that'd be one less problem, because now that one puzzle piece of the 4, 25% of your life has now just went into the 100 percentile, something that you just don't even have to worry about anymore. And you get to put all of your focus. Imagine it as if you were a CEO of a corporation. You had 4 departments, and you had this one department that was operating at 400%. It doesn't need money again for like 10 years. Now it has the ability to help all of these 3 departments. Your love department, and your how you get to spend time with your family, your health, which is the blue department over here. That's like you get to go to doctor's appointments or get your teeth fixed or get that thing fixed and spend more time on your health because you don't have to worry about money anymore. And the same thing with your extra. How are you making yourself happy? Are you going sailing or are you building a motorcycle or weaving baskets? What are you doing? What's your extra? Are you in the yacht club or you go horse racing or whatever you're into? That's your purpose. What's your purpose in life? What are you doing in your life? So if you had all of those 3 departments that you got to put 100% of your focus into, you could imagine that all 3 of those would thrive. Now imagine it the other way around. Imagine that you're you're behind, like you are 6 months behind, and you're getting evicted, like you're getting kicked out. Your money is in the negative. How can you even focus on the other 3?
Right. Absolutely.
So if you take those 2 examples and truly take the ego out of this and just be smart and use your frickin' brain and understand that that's how it works. And that is how our entire organization is designed. And to take that and put it into reality terms, into these 4 puzzle pieces, and do it, I call it psychological math. Do the psychological math. Assess yourself. Take these 4 puzzle pieces, look back at it and say, this is you. This is you as a veteran or any human being. These are your 4 puzzle pieces, and assess yourself. How am I doing in this one? How am I doing in my health department? Okay, I'm in the 80 percentile. I'm doing pretty good. I'm pretty good shape. I'm okay. I think I'm good there. I can honestly assess myself at this 80 percentile. Okay, how am I doing in the money department? I'm struggling right now. I'm in the 50 percentile or whatever. I need to work on that. So I need to dial it down on the other 3 to bring this one back up. I'm showing guys how to change the recipe and to balance these 4, and that you'll be better. But if you assess yourself at the 80 percentile, and this is a tool that you can use all the time. It's a piece of paper that any of these guys take home with them and they hang it on their refrigerator or whatever. Hey, I'm in a bad mood today. I don't know what's going on with me. Something is going on. I'm in crisis. Like, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm struggling right now. What the is wrong with me, And you go and you stand there in front of the refrigerator and you're looking at your 4 puzzle pieces and you're like, okay, I'm at 80 percentile, 80 percentile, 80 percentile, 80 percentile. And you say that you're in the 80 percentile on all 4 of those, you're a freaking liar. You're lying to yourself. You're lying. One of those 4s is screwing up right now. You can't tell because everything's in there. I didn't miss anything. I just divvied it into 4, and whatever you could think of, you could probably put it in one of those 4 categories. So it's all there. You just got to figure it out. Do your own research on yourself. That assessment tool is for you and you alone. You're only lying to yourself if you say, "Oh, I'm happy. I'm 80% happy." But if you're miserable, you got to go back to those 4 and figure out which one are you, and go play with it and do the research on yourself and give yourself some more of that one. Or try something different. You got to play with your recipe. It's like cooking a meal. When you put ingredients in there, you take a handful of, take a handful of dog shit and throw it into soup. You can't tell me that's not going to taste like crap.
Right.
Like you did that. You literally picked up this ingredient and you put it into your pot and you stir it up and you wonder why it tastes bad. Like, stop putting that in there. Like, change your recipe, change your ingredients. You got to change your ingredients and pay attention to what your ingredients are in your life. Like mine is hot rod therapy. It's a little ingredient that I put in my life. I got to work on motorcycle. I got to build, I'm working on a 78 Shasta van out there, this old school dually van. Like I got to give myself little pieces of ingredients in order for me to taste good to the rest of society.
That's a great way of putting it. So I've been excited to get into this part. Let's talk a little bit about impact. And if you can think of some specific examples or stories for feedback or specific stories about veterans that kind of feed into the impact that you guys have had so far.
Okay. So honestly, one of my other angry mottos is impact or die trying. Like that's how frustrated I am, and only because we've been going for 9 years. This isn't just a right away thing, and that we have a solution, basically a cure to PTSD and homelessness, because we're preventing it, and we've been preventing it with 100% success rate for almost, in October will be 9 years. And my frustration is in the impact. So we don't put our arm around veterans and take pictures and say, "Oh, we helped this veteran." We don't do that. But like, "Oh, look at this sorry veteran that couldn't take care of themselves." We do everything behind closed doors. Nobody knows how many veterans that we've helped. We are not going to shame them publicly. We want to help them get on their feet behind closed doors and just keep. Now we have record of all this, and we have studies, and we capture all this data. You know, we've been collecting all of this qualitative and quantitative data since the beginning. Well, about a year after, because then I started realizing I need to start collecting information on how many people are coming and what they're doing. So I've been collecting data for the past 8 years, and I still am today. Just in case somebody needs it for something, and I use it for all my things or whatever. But the impact, so like take for example, one of my guys, Dan, and he doesn't mind me saying it. This guy came in here, Marine Corps veteran, had no idea what he was doing with his life, didn't know what to do. First off, he was kind of scared to even come into the facility. He didn't know what it was going to be like. He drove past our place several times. Came into the parking lot and sat there, didn't get out of his truck, and then he leaves. And then finally he comes back the following Sunday, and this is every Sunday he was coming out there trying to, just jump in and kind of be part of something, which he had no idea. And he finally comes out there, and he showed up in flip-flops and these American flag shorts and, total crayon eating Marine, and he comes out there and he walks through the shop doors, and we're like, "Hey," he'd never met any of us. Like, we could tell the dude was a Marine. Like, you could smell it on him, kind of thing. And he could smell the military feel on us. So he instantly, once he walked in, he was like, "What?" Like, we didn't know each other, but he could feel the veteran vibe in there. And then we hit it off. He's been here for, I think he's going on 6 years that he's been in the place. But since then, here's the impact. I've had the pleasure, the privilege, and I don't take all credit for this because he had to do the work. I just suggested some things, and I was the fire and the boot in his ass to keep going. And I provided the place that he could come to actually get this stuff done, because his house is chaotic, and to be able to come to a place and just hook up to the Wi-Fi and the internet and have a neutral place where because he used the shop during the week, and I let him come in there. This is before we were 24/7. I was like, "Dude, you can come in here and do your homework and stuff and get away from the noise from your house." I was like, "I'm just sitting in my office over here. I don't mind. I'll keep." So he went 3 years. He got his bachelor's degree sitting in our war room, hooked up to our Wi-Fi. He was having his classes, doing videos like this, taking his classes and doing all stuff. And I would overhear these classes. I mean, if I had a degree, it would probably be in psychological marketing or psychology and marketing. I don't know. But because I overheard him going through these marketing, I grew up as a spoiled little kid in marketing. Like, I've been a graphic designer. I understand how to make customers happy, when it comes to marketing and how to like portray things and how to speak and all that. So I'm overhearing him talk, and I'm hearing him getting frustrated because he's a veteran. He's a war veteran. He lost 16 of his brothers and sisters in Iraq. Like, this guy is trying to go to college and try to reintegrate into society. He's a little bit older. He was in his mid-30s at the time. And so I'm overhearing his frustration with taking these classes with these kids. I'm like, "Dude, just push through it." I was like, "Hey, I know it's a group thing." And he hated the fact that in order for him to get an A, he had to put in maximum effort, because these kids, and not all of them were that way, but there was enough to where it frustrated him. And I'm like, "Look, dude, I know you're getting a group grade, but just give it everything you got to get that A. If 2 or 3 of your people aren't doing what they're supposed to, let them get the A with you. So what? Screw them. They're just going to be shitty employees later. You know, they might get that job with their bachelor's degree and go in there and get hired, but their boss is going to find out right away that they don't know what they're doing. They weren't paying attention in college. I was like, dude, just get your degree. Just pay attention. Do the best you can. I like, let's go. So that's what I did with them. I just kept motivating them. Like, Lude, come on, you're doing good. Like, just don't worry about them. So we got to have that banter. And also, he actually helped me too. There was times he overheard some of my conversations, you know, and I had some stuff going on with my daughter, and he got to calm me down. That's the thing, that we help each other. We're always there for each other. Like, so that impact. And now, so here's more of the story. This dude got his bachelor's degree. Then, so he was an intern, basically a volunteer at IU at the time. And I helped him develop the veterans program at IU.
Oh, wow.
And I helped design him a logo, and he was bringing veterans in. But once he graduated, he had to give up that role that he created, basically. So he gave it up to another veteran so that they could run that veteran program in the college. Because so they had this veterans thing where they help other veterans with, college related things. So if you're going to school at IU, that was like the veteran resource thing. So that's what he did. So he got to teach that and develop. So he ended up having all this background, and then he wasn't sure what he was going to do. Now he's got his bachelor's degree. Where do I find a job? I was like, dude, you love being at IU. I was like, why don't you try to? Well, they don't have a role, or they don't have this job. The job that they had me in or whatever. I was like, develop it. I was like, create it and present it to them. He presented it to him, and I helped him develop all that. He presented it to him. They created the job. They ran this little, they just ran it for a little bit just to see if it would work, a temporary thing.
Right.
And then once they realized, and then he had to apply for his own job, even though he's the one that created it. And he got that job that he created, basically. They hired him. And so that's where he's working now. And while he's been doing that, he's since, I think it was like a month ago or so, he got his master's degree.
Wow.
Like, this dude is, and since then he's bought a house. He bought a new car, then a new truck. Now he has a new car again, which he just got like 2 days ago. Like, I see this guy like at least twice a week. I see this guy,
That's
or we
awesome,
talk
man.
through email. But to see this guy win in life is just freaking amazing. And to remember where he once was is awesome. And I have a bunch of these mini stories
cool,
all over the place.
That's cool.
Guys getting sleep again, or they finally got their 100% disability rating because they didn't even know that. They were just dealing with these problems. They had no idea. Or
That's awesome, Jason.
to see them win in any of our programs is just amazing. And even outside, even if we don't offer the program, like, we share it. We don't say we're the best thing. To pat myself on the back, I think we're pretty badass.
Yep.
Like, there's no other organization on the planet like ours. Nobody that can even touch a candle to what we do. We're a Renaissance program, basically. We do everything here. And if we don't do it, we know who does. And we establish these good relationships with them and make sure that these veterans are solving problems in their life and not just sitting around, complaining about their problems. And we never go, oh, that's all the time we have. We're always open. We always have somebody here ready 24/7.
That's awesome.
We're 2:00 in the morning. We're here at the shop sometimes 2:00 in the morning because, and it's 3 or 4 of us. We have this network. If a veteran's like, man, I'm going through some shit right now, like, I need some help. We have this network. We all hit each other up, and because we know half of us don't even get very good sleep anyway. So we throw our boots on and bam, we run to the shop and we help them. Like, come on, dude, let's get through this. Like, da, 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 da. We figure the thing out. We're like, hey, look, tomorrow morning we're gonna get this. We're gonna get that. We're gonna talk to so and so. I've got Judge Cantrell over here, Veteran Treatment Court. She can help. I bet you she has a contact with so and so. We find a way to win.
Jason, you're talking about the community part, and the brotherhood. I kind of wanted to touch base, and I know you guys are based out of Indiana, but how has the community support been in the growth of your organization? I mean, what have you seen from the local people? Because you guys are targeted right now in one section. I know, and we'll get into the expansion a little bit later, but what have you seen from community support, one? And two is, have you partnered with any other organizations or companies to enhance the program?
We haven't partnered with any, or we would love to. but I haven't found another organization that's close to ours in order to, have that common ground, kind of that near peeredness between organizations kind of thing. I haven't found any organizations that really line up with what we're doing, impact related. I'm sorry, what was the
About
other?
the local community,
Oh,
how
local. Yeah,
important has the
okay.
community support been for you guys?
Yes, local support. It seems like it's been great support on, like, you guys are doing a great job. We hear that. But that is as far as it's been going. It hasn't been like, here you go, here's oh, you guys are doing amazing. Well, yeah, that doesn't help.
Right.
A pat on the back and a thank you doesn't get us,
So
program
you
things
don't
that we
have you don't
need.
have a lot of local companies kind of reaching out, helping with donations and things like
No,
that. Oh, that
and
sucks.
no. I mean, we get a lot of help on knowing people and this and that, but as far as public support and people helping us, and see, this is why I want to try to do a documentary, because I don't know if this is a psychological thing on maybe a hater mentality, or so, I don't know what it is, but or maybe it's too difficult to understand. Maybe we're confusing because we do too much. I don't fully know what it is on
What's too
why.
much when it comes to helping
I don't know.
when it comes to helping people suffering? I mean, what can you
I
really
don't
say too
know.
much? I mean, you know what? I think platforms like us and other platforms that you be able to talk about what you do. I mean, that you guys are constantly giving back in any positive way you can, and usually it's on your dime, which is absolutely
Yep.
amazing. So just continue with that. I mean, everything is going to
Yep.
come in its time. Hopefully,
Yep.
people listening to this podcast can help in any way. This isn't begging for donation shit, but this is
No.
reality, man. I
No.
mean, you guys are all hearing what's behind the scenes of constantly trying to help veterans who are really suffering and doing it, through the support of hands-on and brotherhood and that's so important in our life today. So, man, just keep up the
Mhm.
good work. You got great things
Yep.
around the corner, brother. No doubt about it, man.
Yeah, one of the biggest things so most of our support and everything, so veterans get to see it firsthand and they know how it affects them. But being able to convey that to the public, that's one of the things that I'm starting to do interviews here very soon. I got one more event to get done with here in the next couple weeks. We have a shooting competition down in Morocco. It's a 3-gun shooting
Killer.
competition
Cool.
for us. It's for our it's one of our fundraisers. But after that, I'm going to start doing interviews and basically testimonials, so that I can share with the public. And it's going to be their own. They're going to know that this is going to be. Don't share too much, because this is going to be kind of like us talking.
Yep.
It's going to be public, as long as they're okay with sharing, because they love this place and they want it to grow and get bigger. The best way we can do that is to tell the public what benefits they're getting out of this place. So we're going to start recording that, and that's one of the biggest challenges and problems that we've had, is because I spend so much time running these 7 programs, and cleaning bathrooms and taking care of this building and mowing lawns and
Yep.
landscaping and getting the roof replaced, and all these things there's so much going on, and I'm one employee. I don't have a bunch of employees. There's only one employee here. It's me, and my pay comes from the IDVA. Like, that's a grant that we get for admin every year. And so if somebody donates $20 to our organization, cash or whatever, or buys a hat or a bag of coffee or whatever, that money goes to programs, to the facility, to help us pay our mortgage, or, like, that's for our facility and
Right.
our
Right.
programs. It doesn't go to pay an employee.
Right.
But I need help. Like, running this place is ridiculous. I got about, I'd have to say, 6 to 10 diehard amazing volunteers that are kind of scattered. I have 2 that are here, like, they don't have jobs though. They're 100% disabled, and they are just helping because they love this place, and they're here all the time. I actually have a meeting with them at noon today. It's every Monday we have meetings.
That's cool.
But most of our support comes from veterans that have faith in this, because they've seen the inside and they know how it works. But that's where I haven't had the time, because I have so much other things on my plate, is I haven't had the time to sit down and actually put all this stuff on paper, or $15,000 to put together a virtual pitch
Yep.
video that basically, does this documentary style, virtual pitch, that tells me this testimonial thing. That I haven't had time for that. I wish I did, but if I spend the time on doing that, I'm neglecting all these other things. You know how many phone calls I get that a veteran's in crisis, or I got to be here to open a door because something's getting delivered, or there are a million things going on here. My stress level is through the roof, and until I get that help, then I can't work on it. So I'm balancing, and so my number one thing is helping veterans, and they have taken precedence in the mission first. So every day I'm helping veterans. I have over 100 veterans a week that come through our doors.
Wow.
So like it's a ridiculous amount of necessity and demand that's been very difficult. So
Good for you, man. Good for you that you do this for others, man. I always believe in karma. It always comes back in a positive way.
Yeah,
I
and
hope
you
so.
touched on it a little bit, but how can people, whether they're individuals or organizations, get involved with volunteering or support?
So two things that they can do if they're in our general area. Obviously, we have Think Tank Tuesdays every second Tuesday of each month. You could join our board. All of this information is on our website and our Facebook page. But you can get involved and be a volunteer. Like we do, there's volunteer stuff all week long, every day of the year. And the cool thing is that everybody has different resumes and different time on their hand. There's no obligation. You could help out anytime. The other thing that you can do is you can become a monthly member and just donate $5 a month or $10 a month, whatever you can. And that would help us do what we do. If we did that times, I don't know what the math is on that, but a million
Right.
people, times $5 a month, there you go. Do the math
Right,
on that.
right.
Like teamwork makes the dream work. Like even if we were all donating a dollar
Yeah.
a month, that's $1 million a month
Right.
times a million people,
Right.
and that would help us create this humongous facility that is solving so many different problems. Plus, all of those veterans are going out and blowing their money on the
Mhm.
economy and buying
Yeah.
things and spending money, and they're staying alive. And you got these happier people out there, you know, and veterans happier in the workplace and happier. And I mean, it's a win-win
yeah.
And one of
everywhere.
your goals is to expand,
So
right?
yes, we're trying. I mean, I'm in talks with Australia, Canada, Great Britain,
Right.
a lot of our ally countries. I haven't been trying. They just been people that have reached
Oh,
out to
wow.
me. I haven't had the energy or the effort to put into, because I don't know how nonprofit stuff works internationally.
Right.
I'm sure they're probably, maybe relaxed in some areas, but then, tighter in other areas. I don't know, and I haven't had the time to actually have these conversations
Right.
with these people, so they're still kind of in talks.
Gotcha.
And then I have probably, I'd have to say, 15 to 20 in the works throughout the states too.
Wow.
But they take time, and these people have, because it's not just one person just says, "Oh, I want to open up an OCB in my state." Well, you got to find 3 more people. You can't do it by yourself. You got to be a 4-man or woman team. 4 people on your team, and 3 of them got to be veterans, at least bare
Gotcha.
minimum.
Yep.
You got to have that near peeredness and understand how to
Of
run the
course,
programs
of
and all that
course.
kind of
Yeah, that
stuff.
makes sense.
So you have to have those 4 people in order to. So this is a lot of work. I don't make it easy for you to open up a chapter. This isn't like a
Yeah.
franchise that you buy
Right.
into.
Right.
Like your heart's got to be in the right
Yeah, it's your
place.
passion.
Like it isn't easy to do this. So it's not. That's why we don't have a bunch of chapters all over the country. And I'm a quality over quantity person. I've shut down way more, you know, potential
Yeah.
chapters than I've
Yeah.
started,
So
easily.
what are some of the future goals for your organization? Well, where do you see yourself? Well, where do you see this 5 years down the road?
Okay, 5 years down the road, it's in my plan, and I'm hoping that this. Actually, no, you know what? Hope is bullshit.
Oh, it's
So
going to happen. It's going to happen.
no, I'm gonna make it
You're gonna
happen.
make it happen.
I can hope for something to happen, but it's gonna take action to
Right.
actually make
Yep.
it happen. So this is going to happen, and so here's how near period works, and I've proven my recipe with veterans. So now here's where I'm working with this university study to actually get this to paper and really dial this in and have a full-blown recipe, because my end goal is not just for. So near period is like male, two males. You walk into a room and there's tons of different demographics of people. So near peer is the men have something in common, the women have something in common, doctors have something in common, certain kinds of doctors have things in common. So that's near peered. So depending on what even races have, different near peeredness because they have the same race. Or here we go with rape and domestic abuse. I want to do this for children that have been in battered, or different situations. This recipe, I'll have to fine tune it a little bit, but this is where I want to help anyone that has PTSD or some kind of trauma, depression. I want to be able to moderate the happiness level in any key demographic group that comes in to seek some form of distractive therapy, some way of moderating their habit. This is just a tool. I want to be able to teach people how to DIY yourself into being happy.
Killer.
With any key group, and it takes creating a group of near-peered individuals and being able to have an atmosphere for you to grow together. So our building, our facility, 15,000 square feet facility, has been basically the testing grounds for all of this to work. And our key near-peered group is veterans right now. So eventually I would love to take the same scope of facility, build another one, and make it all about first responders.
Yeah.
You got police, fire. They go through some of the same things that we do, just that don't speak the same language as we do. We went out of country, on deployments, and, we were away for months at a time, didn't see our family. So it's a different kind of trauma. Law enforcement, they walk out the door every morning not knowing. So that's a daily exposed trauma. Not knowing who they're going to walk up to in that car. The windows are rolled up. You have no idea. It's nighttime. It's raining. You have no idea what you're walking up on. You have no idea if you're going home tonight.
Right.
And that's every day.
That sucks.
So they have different near-peeredness. Same thing with firefighters, man. The amount of, victims and bodies and like the trauma, EMTs, the amount of, I don't think people realize that, these are our first responders that come and help us out of these bad situations. But, we're in our homes and we see all these stories in the news. Oh, so-and-so died. So-and-so this, there was an accident on this. You have no idea that every single one of these first responders, you know how many thousands of calls they get? Like, this is their job. Every single day it's a new one. Every single day it's a new one. Yeah, to walk into this, like, you got dead children in this room from smoke inhalation or fire, or like I couldn't imagine. Like, so I can never say that I can relate to a firefighter or an EMT or a first responder. They all have their own near-peer groups, but I have a recipe and I want to be able to teach them how to use it so they can help fix themselves.
Killer, man.
So that's my goal, and it's for us to have, I would love to have us to have locations at least in every state, but I would love within a 50, 100-mile radius to have a bunch of these facilities.
Amazing.
Where they can come and get together and develop their own little co-ops where they can all get together as veterans in these near-peered communities and actually do stuff. Prove your existence. Like, it's a tangible thing. I built this thing. I built this motorcycle, or I built this lamp, hot rod art, or taking trash and turning it into something, recycling something, and making it into this cool piece of art and having something to be proud about. Like, those kind of things, those kind of accomplishments, and be able to do that kind of stuff and prove your existence on this planet. I was here today. I remember that day that I built that thing, whatever it is. And that whole entire day or time that you were doing that thing, you weren't thinking about nothing else. You were fighting boredom, and you got to make your stamp on this planet. So that's my whole goal.
Awesome, that's awesome. Great answer.
Yeah. Here's a fun question. What advice would you give to another veteran, or you're already making faces, to a veteran or to an individual who's looking to start a nonprofit to impact the community?
I guess I would say it's one of the patches that I wear on my vest is like, nut up or shut up. Like, talk is cheap.
That's funny.
I mean, I say shut up and show me. Like, you can talk all day long, but I mean, unless you're gonna like, just shut up and show me. It's like
Exactly.
it's Missouri's, show. It's the show me
The show
state.
me state. Yeah.
Like that's me. I'm the state of Missouri. Show me. Like, don't talk all this. But I've heard so many people feed me so much bullshit. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. You have to do that for yourself too. Like, you are your own worst enemy, your own worst critic, your own best motivation too. It goes the other way too.
That's awesome.
So you're your own motivational tool, and surround yourself by positive people that don't mind kicking you in the ass
Yeah.
or saying, dude, you're a dumbass. Like, why did you do
Truth
that?
tellers, yeah.
Like, stop doing dumb
Right.
shit. Like, I say that every Thursday night at Lima Charlie. I say that stuff. I'm not afraid to say it, and I'm not afraid for them to tell me that either. I can take that criticism. I don't mind hearing it. Sometimes I need
Yeah.
to hear it.
Yep.
But to be able to tell yourself, come on, dude, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Like I have TikTok is tattooed, and it's not TikTok the app. I tattooed.
You don't
This is
dance?
before. Yeah, this was before TikTok came out. TikTok is time is ticking. I'm infatuated by time. I got an hourglass on my arm. I sleep when I'm dead. Like, I want to cram as much life in as possible. The more you sit around and complain, that's another day wasted.
Right.
You're not gonna get that day back.
Yep.
Like, time is linear. Like, you don't get to go back. You gotta move forward. Like, come on. Like, every single day, if I don't accomplish something, like I'm like, I'm not gonna get that
Yeah.
day back.
Dude,
I don't know how many days I got left.
Right.
Nobody does.
that's right.
I want to try to cram in as much as I can. And while I'm doing it, I'm staying distracted. I'm not thinking about mortality. I'm not thinking about somebody that I lost, or the bill that I owe, or my car just broke down, or my dog just left me, or
Right.
I mean, there's all these things, all the what ifs and all that. But man, like, you gotta
Just do it.
nut up, just
Yeah,
do it,
just
nut
do
up
it.
or shut up.
Nice.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right, my man. You got through some good questions. Now we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna take you into the speed round. We got 15,
Okay.
15 questions. No right or wrong answer. We've got
Okay.
2 minutes on the clock. Tell me
I
when
didn't
you're
eat my
ready. We
Wheaties this
start it
morning.
off. Let's do it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
What is the best motorcycle you have owned or ridden?
One that has air in the tires and gas in the
Yes.
tank.
No particular brand?
Nope.
All right. If you could
As
have
long as it goes fast.
Yeah, for sure. If you could have any superpower to use while riding, what would it be?
Ooh. Superpower while riding? I guess it would be probably unlimited vision to see through horizons or whatever. Because you already have great vision,
Right.
But if I could just see more of that, I guess it's the wanting
All right,
thing.
great
Like, you just
answer.
you kind of want more. I want to see more of all the things that I already get to see
Yeah,
more.
man, great
So,
answer.
yeah.
All right, best place you ever rode and why?
Ooh, I would have to say I want to say that it was the UP because it was gorgeous. M26 on the shoreline up there by Copper Harbor. That was a freaking roller coaster. You know what? I am going to give it to that because it was my most recent. I mean, as far as long term, it was Daniel Boone National Forest in
Yeah,
Kentucky.
it's a beautiful place. I've ridden.
That was a beautiful. I mean,
it's awesome.
I wore my saddlebags down. You can see through my saddlebags. Like, I wore all the fiberglass off, and I was dragging through corners. Man, it was fun. It was a roller coaster.
That's funny. All right.
So yeah, Kentucky and the UP so
All right,
far.
great answers. What's your guilty but go-to pleasure for alcoholic beverage? And if you don't drink, what's your go-to snack?
Buffalo Trace. I don't really drink that often, but when I do, it's Buffalo Trace.
I love Buffalo Trace.
I love it. It's got I'm a whiskey drinker. I'm actually allergic to beer. I don't know what it is, but my throat knots up. I'm not a cheap drunk, I guess.
Gotcha.
So I have to drink strong stuff. It's either, I don't drink cheap stuff. So I either do Tito's vodka, and orange juice or whatever,
Gotcha.
any kind of mixer with it, or with Buffalo
All
Trace
right, good one.
or Jim Beam
When
too.
you were in
Okay.
Kentucky, did you ever go to Buffalo Trace?
We actually just went.
Nice.
I was there on what's today? I was just there on
That's
Thursday
awesome.
or Friday.
Yeah,
Sorry,
what a cool
Friday.
place.
Yeah, so we went through the gift shop. We were actually there looking for a candle. You'd be surprised, but I bought my wife a candle last time I was there, and we used the whole candle up. But she said that, it was her favorite candle.
Wow.
And now we go all the way to
She's a
Buffalo
candle.
Trace, and we're looking for this candle, and they didn't make it anymore.
Sorry.
And I was like, "Ooh." So we're in a deep hunt right now.
So you brought home
searching the
you
dark
brought
web.
home a couple of bottles instead.
No, actually, I didn't, because I have too much of it at home already, because I don't drink. Because people gift it to me, you know. They're like, "Hey, we know you love Buffalo Trace," so I got so many bottles in there right now. I'm like, no more. Like, I'll never drink all this in a lifetime.
All right, next question. If you
So,
could time travel, which era would you visit and why?
Ooh, man. I absolutely love, and I don't know if it's because of how I grew up, it was the 50s and the 60s. Like, that hot rod, just beginning phases of hot rodding, and you know, the music, and you know, I grew up on oldies music, and you know, it was pretty much all original stuff.
That
You know,
transformation, man. Of,
yeah, there was no sampling anywhere, kind of thing. There was no internet. Yeah, like, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s. You know, I was born in 78. The 80s were 80s is still my go-to music, though. That's my
no question.
fun, happy music.
Agreed. Late
I
70s
am
and
80s.
80s, yeah.
80s is that hippie, like, disco music that's my jam, and I have fun in the shop. Like, usually on Sundays in the shop here with all of us guys, I mean, Cyndi Lauper and Africa by Toto, those are our songs.
Yeah,
like,
don't say disco too loud. Ben usually gets his John Travolta wig out and starts dancing, so you got to go easy with those words. Who was your movie crush when you were a teenager?
Movie crush when I was a teenager? Man, I didn't watch a whole lot of TV. I mean, I had a black and white TV until I was until my high school. Like, I didn't watch TV. I mean, I was always in the garage. I didn't watch TV.
You're 78, I'm 71, so you probably like Heather Locklear. Remember, like, all those girls that were coming up, Samantha Fox. I don't know if you remember her.
I'd have to say probably Cindy Crawford from, Pepsi
Cindy Crawford.
commercials.
Yep.
So maybe that, but I mean, I didn't really have crushes. I didn't watch TV at all.
I got you.
I never really knew what was going on in society because I was always in the garage. Like, I was addicted to building stuff and going. I was either racing my truck or, in the garage building something. I was always doing something on my hands, or I was always working. I always kept myself busy because that's how I grew up. I didn't watch TV like other kids did.
Right.
Like, my parents made us go outside and do stuff. Like,
us too, of course.
we were only allowed a finite amount of time right before bed that we could watch TV, and it was black and white. You had to turn the dials that had the bunny ears, and you had to, we had to adjust the tracking on the VCR and all that to watch our cassette tapes, and it was a pain in the ass. So we didn't really, it was funner to go outside and play Sandlot games and, and run around and do stuff or work out in the garage. We always had tools and, so.
All right. If you could meet and have dinner with one person, past or present, who would it be?
Chip Foose.
Chip Foose.
All right, good.
Chip Foose. I knew where that was going right off the bat. He's just.
He seems like such
absolutely. It's his humbleness, and if I was to imagine someone, it's not even so much his talent, it's his actions afterwards. That dude, to me, he carries himself like I do. I don't give a F what other people think of me. I don't care. I am here for art and to be creative and to do stuff. I am about the art. I don't care what I look like. I don't care if I did my hair this morning. Like, you can see it in his eyes when he works on stuff that he is just deep into his art.
He's a talent, man, no question.
That creative mind, and when you hear him talk, you can tell he loves what he does. I would just love to meet Chip Foose someday. Like, he's
Hey, Chip, if you're listening to our podcast,
that would be amazing. I would love to meet him.
when you're in Indiana, go see Jason, man.
I always wanted to be on overhauling.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to be one of those guys in there helping him do the body work or fabricating or engineering this new idea of something. Like, I love creating, new stuff.
All right,
Like,
let's go to the next one. One law you would change if you were president for the motorcycle community.
Well, they already changed I don't know if it's state by state, but I know they already changed the handlebar rule.
Oh, in Indiana, you have to keep them down?
Yeah. Are you talking specific to the
whatever
bike
it is.
or to the rider?
Whatever it is, whatever you feel like saying. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I think there should be freedom in all safety gear worn, and it not be super specific behind, helmet laws and stuff like that, and specific DOT helmets or whatever. I mean, everybody has their own safety stuff.
Right.
I mean, I could see it. Like, I wear a helmet when I'm riding on the highway. I'm going on a long trip and when there's bad weather. But just local riding, when I'm under, say, 55 miles an hour, I don't want to wear a helmet.
Yeah,
I want to be
freedom,
comfortable.
of course.
What's the difference between, riding a scooter or a bicycle? Like, more freedoms when it comes to motorcycles. Now, of course, I know a lot of these laws are in place because someone's made a mistake
Right.
somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
And you don't want somebody coming out and changing a bunch of stuff on this motorcycle, and now you got this weird contraption,
Right.
and it ends up killing a bunch of people because you slacked up on the laws, and now you got this motorcycle out there, that is a safety hazard, and now it just killed a bunch of people. So you gotta, I get it, like you gotta have some laws and keep people to follow guidelines and stuff like that. But when it comes to, and I know what they're saying,
I like
like
ape
nothing
hangers.
above the shoulders.
All my bikes have them, so.
Oh heck yeah! Once you go apes, you don't go back.
no,
Like
it's-
I'm an ape.
Me too.
I used to talk shit on my dad and his buddies because the ape hangers. I was like, oh whatever. This old guy my dad was talking to, because they used to all hang out in front of the shop while I'm over there working on something or whatever. And I'd listen to these two old timers, my dad and this guy talking, and this guy pulls up and he's got apes, and I'm like, fuck the apes. That's stupid. I like crotch rockets and drag bars, and it's cooler, blah blah. They're like, the guy is like, and this thing was a raggedy piece of shit Sportster. It sounded like shit, but I mean, it still ran and went. He had apes, and he's like, take it for a spin, and they're both smiling, and I was like, all right, whatever, I'll ride it. Already in my mind, I'm like, this is gonna be stupid. I'm not gonna like it. This is dumb. This is a piece of crap bike. I get on that thing, I take off, I go for a ride. I'm like, mind blown, and I'm like, I'm a young kid. I don't want to tell my dad that he was right. That this thing is badass. So I get back there, and man, I swallowed my pride, and I was like, you two old fuckers were right.
Absolutely.
You gotta be, I swallowed it. I was like, this is amazing. I love it. I was like, I want apes now. I mean, I'm not trying to go
No.
super crazy like this, but
comfortable apes, absolutely.
comfortable apes, man. It rides like a Cadillac, and it just total different ride. The air blowing, there's so many benefits. I weighed all that. I didn't take into consideration just the look factor of looking cool. Comfortability and how the bike handles, and plus the weight of your arm hanging on the throttle.
Yeah.
It takes away a lot of that throttle crack where people are like, oh man, all the benefit. I just love apes now. I'm stuck with them.
It's all right. It's all right. Me too.
So,
all right. If you could get up on stage and sing or jam with one band, who would it be?
there's a ton. I'd have to say Five Finger Death Punch,
Good band.
because I love a lot of their stuff there. But sentimentally, why would be Africa by Toto, because that's our shop song.
Okay.
And
Toto's a great
every
band
time-
anyway, man.
and here's where it's not so much the song, it's what the song means to the people in our shop, because we've been going for 9 years here. And anytime I ever hear the song playing, because we always have the radio playing in the shop, on shop days, we got a radio station playing. And it's usually a mix of old, 80s, 90s music, sometimes 60s, 70s music. It's all older, 90s and below kind of thing. And that song will come on, and we all join in singing it. And it just, every time I hear it, if I'm walking through a Home Depot
It
or,
just brings joy.
I'm-
brings a smile to your face.
it reminds me of all the people that we've lost here, because we've lost some people to heart attack, and we've never lost anybody to suicide, but we've all lost some amazing people to heart attack and cancer and just old age kind of stuff. Those people we love those people, and it reminds me of all the people that have walked through our doors over the years. And it's just, to me, it has a different meaning.
All right.
To other people, they're like, oh, that damn song again. To me, it's just one of those things that it was our shop song kind of thing. So
What's the best prank you ever pulled on a fellow rider?
man, you're getting me on some good ones. I haven't really.
That's all right.
I
Okay,
haven't-
don't worry if you don't have it. We can move on.
Yeah,
to the
I
next.
don't really. I tell jokes and everything, but I haven't really. Maybe I just can't think of any off the
All
top
right.
of my head.
If you could challenge any celebrity, any person out there to a motorcycle race, who would it be and why?
Ooh, probably Indian Larry.
All right.
I would say. I mean, he's not
Right,
around
right,
now,
right.
but he was
He was a great one, man.
he was a I don't give a you
Right,
know
right. Just a
he
creative
was
man.
a f you to
Yep,
society
yep.
kind of very creative. You know, he was one of those kind of guys that I'd love to, and I could tell that I think that he wouldn't even care if he won, and
Yeah.
that's how I am. I don't care. I would. It's
It's
the
the enjoyment of
journey. It's
being
the
there, right.
race. And like I would high five like good race, man. I don't care that I wouldn't be pissed off if I lost. Like he just seemed like that kind of
Definitely.
guy that like wouldn't
Yep.
care. You know.
All right. Last dinner ever. What would it be?
Ooh man. I would have to say. Probably I don't know, lasagna.
All right, good one.
I'm a Garfield kind of guy. Like I love lasagna.
Nice. Italian food, man. I'm addicted.
Yep, I love Italian
Yeah.
food.
All right. Besides the One Gang Worldwide podcast, of course, what is your other favorite podcast? Do you listen to other podcasts?
I actually don't. I don't have time to wipe my ass. So I sleep maybe 4 hours a night, and I am deep into running this organization, and every single minute of my day is full of just stuff. So and plus I drive so many different vehicles. I haven't been able to get comfortable. For a while there, I was listening to a couple podcasts. You know, I listened to Joe Rogan here and there. And then there were some other just random. They were just Google ones. They were just random podcasts. I don't even know if they had a name. Because we have XM radio too, so there's a couple of those that we listen to, me and my wife. But I don't really have a specific. I haven't really found good content. Honestly, your guys' I love content like this,
Cool.
like real story kind of
Nice.
stuff, like
Appreciate you.
things that have meat and potato, like actual meat to it. It's not just the same old,
Right.
you know, the same old
Yeah.
stories of like the stuff that's kind of predictable, you know.
Great. I got
So I do love stuff like
I
that.
got one more question for you. That wraps up the speed round. But you had mentioned earlier the 4 puzzle pieces, and you've got the piece of paper. Hopefully, we can get that piece of paper from you. Maybe turn it into a PDF for the listeners. But I was curious.
I already got it for you.
Perfect.
Awesome.
It's on our website. So if you go to our website and you go to Lima Charlie, click the Lima Charlie button. It's in the Veteran Services area. Click the Lima Charlie button, and you can go down and it says brochure download.
Got it.
That's a PDF.
Perfect. All right.
And you look at it, and you can either print it, and this is open source. I don't care. People can steal my recipe, whatever. If it saves your life, good for you. But this is my recipe.
Jason, everything that you're a part of and everything that you've discussed and will be linked to the show notes of this. So anybody can click directly to your website, to your Facebook page,
Okay.
to everywhere you're available to get a hold of you. And
Okay.
before we close it out, as a final, is there anything else maybe you want to just kind of tell the listeners to finish this up?
All I would have to say is that we have a cure to the suicide and homeless epidemic. We have a cure, not the cure. Mixed methods. That's what's going to battle this. We are an organization with 100% success rate. 100%. It's not 1 or 2 or 98%. We are 100% success rate in our organization. We're using 7 different programs, and we're not going to stop at 7. There's going to be multiple. I mean, our organization is going to be one of those menu boards you can walk into and look at the menu and see what do you want to do? How do you want to be happier in our organization? And we'll be able to try to provide that to you so that you can fix your own happiness and be, get back into society and moderate that happiness level. So I would just have to say to people to know that the awareness that should go out there is if people could just spread the word about our organization, that there is a cure. And we don't all have to dump all of our money into awareness now. I don't know that people don't realize that there is a cure. Like we're here, like we exist. Help us, allocate the money in the right direction
Right.
to a cure,
Right.
To actually facilitating this cure and fixing
Yeah.
veterans instead of just telling people about a problem we already know exists. And I don't know if that's a threat on their organization. Why not just join us and spread awareness about our organization and that there is a
Yeah.
cure. You can still be an organization. You can still have that win out there and still raise
Yeah.
money and all that. and let people know that there is a cure. Why wouldn't people be happy about
We're
that?
always stronger
You know?
together than we are apart. So
Yes.
that's the key.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Jason, from the bottom
Yep.
of our hearts, brother, we are been honored to chat with you, find out about Operation Charlie Bravo, which is amazing, man. Keep kicking ass. You got two huge fans here in Florida
Yes, sir.
pulling for you.
Sweet.
And any way we can help you spread the word, help spread what the amazing things that you guys are doing, man. We're gonna definitely take advantage of this platform, and hopefully our listeners do too. Share this stuff,
100%.
guys. Get it out there because more people need help than you can possibly imagine. That hide in the dark and never in the light for you to really even know that they need it. So thank you so much.
Yep.
Keep up the great work, man. We're gonna check
Yep.
back in on you maybe sometime next year. See what's transpired since and the great things that you're doing.
Yep.
Sweet.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely.
Thanks, brother. Be good, man.
Yep, we'll do.
See you, brother.